All right. Well, if you're paying attention to dates, then which you probably aren't yet because nobody's on this channel yet, and that's okay. That's okay because we have not broadcasted this channel. We've told some friends that we have a channel, but we haven't given them the channel name because there's just been some things over the last few weeks and months that we didn't want to get out and we didn't want to have as public knowledge, but that's personal. That's because of personal things. But anyway, it's getting close to where we can spread the word and let everyone know, which is exciting. And what's super exciting right now is the last video I did was actually, I didn't even look at the date, but man, that was probably 3 or 4, maybe, it's probably like 4 weeks ago, maybe close to 5 weeks ago. And I said, exciting news, we made an offer and it was accepted on a homestead and we had a buyer for our house. All they had to do was sell their house, and crickets for 4 weeks. We haven't been on, have we? Haven't been on. Haven't shared anything. Why? Because our buyer was struggling to more than she thought about selling her house, selling their house. And she's got a great house. But I kid you not, 6 hours before our contract was up on the house we are buying, I get a call and she had an accepted offer on her house. 6 hours. There's a 30-day window that she had to sell her house. And 6 hours before it was up, she sold her house. Amazing, amazing. So now in about 4 or 5 weeks, we will be moving, maybe 4 to 6 weeks, and maybe we'll do some quick videos on just the moving process. But we want, the purpose of this channel is twofold. One, maybe I've mentioned this, I don't know. One is just so I can look back and laugh at myself about how much I did not know from the beginning and how much I've grown, how much I've learned and experienced over the course of months and years. Like 5 years down the road, I'm planning on just looking at myself, a young bird in the homesteading world that knew nothing, and I can just laugh like, look at that guy. He's gonna learn so much. You need water? Hey, Quinny, my little 5-year-old. Quinny, are you excited?
Yeah.
What are you excited about?
The homestead.
The homestead. The homestead. You should be in bed though. Yeah, we are excited. And it is official, so we've been able to tell the kids, like, all right, it's a real deal, because up to this point, it hasn't been, it's just, for the last month, it's just been, okay, we think it's happening now, but, you know, you can't really get into moving mode until you know it's happening, and now we know it's happening, so now we're now in go mode, so, yeah, super excited. We'll be moving in 4 to 6 weeks. But I just can't believe the roller coaster of emotions, because right when I did that last video, I was like, boom, we're moving, woo, homestead, yeah. We found one, somebody's buying our house, and then nothing, so then it's like, woo, and then 6 hours before it's up, it's skyrocketing in excitement. I think maybe a little sadness in certain ways. We're very, very close to several families up here, and we're moving a few hours away. So there's some sadness, and every time I've moved, there hasn't been like really deep relationships. And right now we have some really, really good, tight relationships. So that's the bittersweetness of it all. But what have I learned? What have we learned? And I've got to say, it's not much yet because we don't know a whole lot about homesteading, but I do know this. What we've learned about the process up to this point is that I feel like we've done things right up to this point. Only time will tell, but at this very moment, I feel like we've done things right. We've searched hundreds of properties over many, many states, probably 7 or 8 states. And the one thing is we had this priority list. It was like on our fridge, and we were able to see it every day. We had this priority list, and not everything was like firm priorities. We'll call them soft priorities. And I gotta say, like, maybe a couple of those there was some compromise, but maybe you heard all that. My 5-year-old just used the restroom, didn't close the door, and flushed the toilet. So you might have heard the whole deal. Who knows? Anyway, there's soft priorities, and soft priorities for us, there were like neighbors. You know, I'd look at the overhead shots of hundreds of properties that had a lot of really, really good features to them and maybe met most of our priorities. And you'd look at all these pictures, you'd look at the land, and it would just look glorious. And then I'd look at the overhead shot, and I kid you not, one that we really, really had our eyes set on was literally like at the end of a cul-de-sac. I'm like, how can that property be at the end of a cul-de-sac? And literally it was. You'd drive through this neighborhood, it's at this cul-de-sac, and then it would have a long driveway out to the property. And I'm like, it's like in town, and it's not gonna work. It's just not. Everything else looks awesome. So there were like things that we just could not compromise on, and that was one. We didn't want to be completely accessible by everyone in the closest town, you know? But we compromised to a degree on there because we do have a couple neighbors. We have one right across the road where we're at, and then we have one that we can see from our porch, and that's not something, the one that we can see from our porch is not really something that my wife is too keen on. So we'll probably put up like trees, maybe we probably need another building at some point, so we might put that, like position that where, you know, covers up that property. And it's not like we don't want to be around people, because we need relationships. My wife requires relationships. I require good, deep connections and fellowship with people. We just require that. So it's not like we're trying to avoid people, but as far as homesteading goes, we just don't really want people to know and be all in our business unless they're like family to us. Like literally the people, our friends that we're closest with now, we would consider them family. And I don't care if they know our business. If they need a place to stay, they're in our home. If they want to build on our property, they can build on our property. We love those people, and we love everybody, but we can't have everybody just knowing our business. And then who knows, if worst comes to worst in this world and people are desperate for food or whatever, you know, if they know your business and they know you're running a successful homestead for your family, they're gonna be after you. You know what I mean? Those are things like I think about. You don't have to think about that. So anyway, there was a slight compromise right there, but that's okay, because everything, that wasn't like this firm thing where you just can't have anybody within 5 miles of you or whatever. But certain things were firm. We definitely wanted, most of these things were like property. You can't change property very easily. Like you get what you get, and it's not too changeable. You can change buildings, you can change the home, layout of the home, you can add on to a home. You can't change the property. You can't just add a woods real quick, you know? So minimum, we wanted 5 acres of woods, minimum. We got a lot more than that. Then we wanted pasture, but you can create pasture if you can take away the woods. Not that easy, but you can. But I didn't want to have completely wooded property, so we have plenty of pasture. We don't even have to create any pasture. Also a running water source, like a river or creek, not just a wet weather creek, but like we wanted running water the whole year round. At least very, very near our property, and it was firm. We needed that. We're just looking out to make this as successful of a homestead, as close to completely self-sufficient as possible, and that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're looking to build. And you need these things. Also, like up where we're at now is in northern Indiana, and property prices are outrageous. But the thing is it's all farmland, and that's probably why the property prices are so outrageous. But that also makes any water source that's on your property, that makes those like just not trustworthy water sources, because you're going to get all that runoff from chemicals used on the farm. You know, I don't want that. And that's like it's like the whole northern half of Indiana. Anyway, we're a few hours away, and property prices are literally a third of what they are here where we're at now. A third. It's so much more beautiful and untouched nature. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous. And the water is clean. It's not completely surrounded by farms everywhere. So these were things that we were thinking about and we were looking for spread over 7 or 8 years, right, Cammie? Mm-hmm. My wife stepped in. She's so beautiful.
I know.
It's late at night, so I'm not sure if she wants to be on camera. Late at night, sometimes we get grumpy. Right? Yeah? Are you getting on camera? Are you getting on camera?
Because I'm not grumpy,
No,
but
yeah.
my face looks bad.
It's okay. You love it. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Anyway. Yeah, so what we've learned so far is that set those priorities. It's okay to have like soft priorities. And if you can meet those priorities, great. But the firm ones, don't compromise, because my one thing I mentioned probably dozens of times to Cammie when we were finding properties that looked great, houses that looked great, was I feel like I would regret that. You know, after the newness wears off, the excitement wears off, I feel like, you know, a year down the road, I might have some regrets because this isn't being met. So that's what we know so far. Not a lot about homesteading, but about finding the homestead. You better have those firm priorities that just cannot be compromised on, and don't compromise. Don't compromise, because the one thing is it can be so awesome and appealing at first, but once that newness and excitement wears off, you do not want to regret compromise. Not when you're doing this thing. Not when you're trying to provide for your family and be self-sustaining. You just cannot make those compromises. So peace out, and next couple videos will probably be about our moving process. So we're excited about that. Bye-bye.